Hello, I'm FX Toycat, and this week we learned that Minecraft 1.17 would be releasing on Tuesday. June the 8th is when you can play this update, but a question I've had a ton since then is, will this be for Java or Bedrock or both? And here are words straight from Lady Agnes's mouth.
Yes, so we will release part 1 on the same day for all platforms. And that's super soon, so that feels very exciting.
And so she confirms that Caves and Cliffs Part 1 will be coming out at the same time for Java, Bedrock, and everywhere else this update is going to be available. And so this is going to be true for almost any update going forwards now, just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, welcome to Q&A Saturday. This is the weekly series where I answer your questions. Also, you can subscribe if you want to see more 1.17, 1.18 content. I like playing around with new update features, and if you do too, maybe you'll be curious about what's coming after 1.18, because Charlie Hopper asks, is there going to be a Minecraft Live in 2021? And if so, is it for 1.18 or 1.19? This is honestly one of my big fears, that they'll act like 1.18 is the next big update, when in reality it's the second half of this big update. But something really good we heard in the same video that you heard Lady Agnes confirm that. She's talking about what's happening after Caves and Cliffs, and this was what we heard from that.
So of course we will spend lots of time, effort and love on really finalizing Caves and Cliffs and making sure we can release part 1 and part 2 in good quality. But we do actually also have some plans for what's gonna happen after Caves and Cliffs, so that feels very exciting. And the plan is that we're gonna announce this on Minecraft Live 2021. So I will not say more now, but I'm excited and I hope you will be excited as well.
That's right, we're going to be learning about these new things coming in 1.19, the next big update after Caves and Cliffs is finished. We're going to be learning about that at Minecraft Live this year. That is traditionally an event that happens in September or October, but again, you know what? 2021's a wacky year that's getting back on track, so it could be earlier, it could be later, we don't know for sure, but we are learning about the next big update theme, and that's going to be great. I'm glad they are really admitting this is a split in an update, not two distinct updates, even though that is going to be some of the marketing that we see. And speaking of the marketing, you might be curious about the Wandering Trader. So the question here is, can you get moss blocks from the Traveling Merchant? And obviously you can. You can find moss blocks as well as a whole ton of update stuff. Honestly, the Wandering Trader is going to be one of the stars of the show here, rather than having to do all these separate sources. If you want, you can find a ton of Wandering Traders and you can try and find some of the new blocks there. I honestly do think that it is one of the weird side benefits of having such a scattered update in how it's found, is that you can find lots of those blocks from the Traveling Merchant. I look forward to maybe doing that occasionally in some post 1.17 playthroughs. But the next question here is, people were upset with the update since when? And I wanted to talk about this because whenever we talk about Caves and Cliffs, there is this kind of split amongst people, amongst is this a good update? Could it have been better, etc, etc, etc. And although personally, and a lot of the conversations I have with people is yeah, this is disappointing compared to what it could have been. It's really interesting to see that kind of public vibe. When they announced the update on Tuesday, there were a ton of people who didn't really know about all this Caves and Cliffs stuff. They saw the reveal last year at Minecraft Live 2020, or maybe they've started playing Minecraft in the last 6 months and they're like, oh cool, the game is getting an update and it's going to have some new underground stuff. I think the majority of players fall into one of those two camps, and it's a reminder that not everyone is as into the Minecraft updates as of course we are on this channel, but also a reminder that yeah, if you want to learn about new stuff, there's it seems like everyone around you that is into Minecraft might know and care about this stuff, but there are still some people that need to be introduced as to what's happening in the future, and so that is one of the reasons why I think it's important that we still keep doing this and will continue to do this for future Minecraft updates. And indeed, that's why we'll cover some 1.18 stuff going forwards from here. But before we talk about 1.18, we need to go back to 1.17, because will these new mountains generate in old mountains where the old chunks have been loaded in? Will you be able to get new mountain generation in your existing worlds? And this is a 1.18 question, so it seems a bit jumping the gun to answer it right now. However, in the Caves and Cliffs video, they actually did discuss precisely this, and in past, the answer has always been, if you've explored or looked at a chunk, it will stay that way forever. But they're doing something very different with this update, at least for Java. On Bedrock, I've proven that they've been doing this for a while. They're doing chunk blending really, really well, and so here's what Lady Agnes has to say.
For us, it's very important that you can play on your worlds for many, many years. So we really want to be respectful to old worlds. And that's true in this case as well. So we're actually working on blending. So when you update your world to part 2, we will blend the old world generation with the new world generation. And I mean, I've seen how it looks, and I think it actually looks really, really good. An important thing here for us is that we should never destroy anything that you have built. So we will not change anything in chunks you have visited. However, we might change things in chunks you have seen but not visited, because it's easier to make a good blending if we can blend some of the old chunks with the new chunks, because then it's going to be all smooth.
So this is a feature that we've seen in the 1.17 betas. I've seen less of it on Java, but the goal is to make it so that you can have brand new features much closer to your existing chunks, because now there is going to be a distinction between chunks that you have been in, physically visited, or built some blocks or something in, and chunks that you have just seen in the distance. And again, I've done a whole bunch of testing on this, so you can probably see it a lot better when you see my testing here in the background than other stuff. And, you know, speaking of that, I wanted to move into an important question, because am I the only one who loves Toycat's new editing style? And I want to be clear, you know, you can see it in the description down below who is editing each individual video, but the reason that the editing has been so good recently is that Harrison Gray has been editing a whole bunch more. He started just editing stream videos and making the IBX 4Cat highlights channel. The channel's not even monetized, but he uploads an insane amount of stream content there for people to enjoy. It's really nice. And so I hired him obviously on a paid basis as an editor recently, and he's been doing a really, really good job. I've been liking it. And if you've been enjoying the editing style, leave a compliment in the comments down below, because yeah, I've been really liking it too. I'm glad that you like it as much. Something you might not know about because of the amount of stuff I kind of produce on this channel, you know, almost every day, and I try to make sure it's all edited to a decent standard. I actually have 3 editors that work for me in some capacity, and we lost one of them, so the goal is to hire some form of new editor, and I don't know how to find someone who can do the same good job that you're seeing in the videos recently. I hope that you're seeing in the videos recently, but that's a thing we're doing in the future. Just keep in mind it's happening in the background. So speaking of things happening in the background, Cookie Cat asks, so are the advancements going to be achievements? Obviously, there are new advancements in 1.17 for Java. Are they going to be new achievements in Minecraft 1.17 for Bedrock? Because Bedrock is on the Xbox Live system, unless you're playing PlayStation 4, in which case it's on the trophy system. Will you be able to get new trophies and achievements? And the only way to know this for sure is on Tuesday when the update releases. However, because of the fact that achievements are they added to the API like a day before, we'll be able to see the new achievements in this update most likely on Monday if they exist. So I'll let you know if we do find those via the leaks, via, you know, obviously Twitter at IBX Toycat. And basically, yeah, it's going to be very exciting if there are achievements. I wouldn't expect it, however. I'd expect them to be in Caves and Cliffs Part 2, but I would love to be wrong. And in case you're curious, like, wait, so how is it that there's new advancement for Java, but not new achievements for Bedrock? And basically, there are lots of advancements that aren't achievements. The most famous one is probably How Did We Get Here? Have every effect applied at the same time. It's Minecraft Java's hardest achievement. Doesn't exist on Bedrock. But the other interesting thing you might not have known, I always forget about it until I make these videos, is that when you get the same achievements that exist on Minecraft Bedrock, but you get them for Java, you actually get experience. So here you can see that if you visit all of the Nether biomes, all 5 of them, you actually, instead of getting gamer score, you get experience that you can use to enchant. Therefore, you could make the argument, a very weak argument because it's only one time, that Minecraft Java is slightly easier to enchant on than Minecraft Bedrock. And that is one of those weird quirks that you just discover whenever you look into these weird things, because Minecraft be real weird, and that is definitely correct grammar. Speaking of exciting correct grammar, Alec asks, what world is this? It looks like you're playing Settlers of Catan, and I do love Settlers of Catan, the board game, but what I was building in the background of last Q&A, I'll throw you a little bit right here so you can see what we're talking about, but what I was actually building is a new map that I'm working on, because I really liked making Ultra Hard Survival Scorch, so I've been working on, very slowly in the background over the last 6 months, making a second map that's going to be called Hexed, because it's all going to be on a hexagonal grid. It looks very crazy to look at. We even made like a kind of a hexagonal Farlands effect. It's going to be a really fun map, and I look forward to showing it off at some point in the next couple months as we get closer and closer to finishing it. Maybe we'll build it on stream or something. But yeah, so you know, that is a thing happening soon. It's going to be a map that you can download. Speaking of things you can't download though, Birdmaster 301 cannot understand why they split the update in 2. But let me give you the down low. Actually, you know, I'll read the rest of his comment, because he says, I get that they didn't think it would be up to standard anytime soon, but the update literally has 2 names. Why not divide it into Caves and Cliffs Part 1, Caves, and Caves and Cliffs Part 2, Cliffs? So I actually do think that if it was just Bedrock Edition that was updating to Minecraft. I think they would do the Cliffs update now, plus a few cave features, and then do the cave update later. Would be a clever way to split it in two. However, the problem is Minecraft Java in particular, I can't tell you why or how, is having some serious architecture optimization problems. Basically, Minecraft would run like absolute garbage if they updated the new mountains and the new caves at the same time, and so they're doing some form of big solution. I can't tell you anything about what's going on there, and I probably wouldn't understand it if I could tell you, but they are doing some serious tech improvements to the game, and I assume the game engine as a whole. They're trying to make the game run better so that you don't have to sacrifice performance to play 1.17 or now 1.18, the Caves and Cliffs update, which is now going to include the actual caves and the cliffs part of it, which I know it does sound very insane. Like, wait, there aren't new caves and there aren't new cliffs in the Caves and Cliffs update. But again, they're trying. 1.17 is basically everything they could do without having to fundamentally alter the generation, everything that's finished so far, and 1.18 is going to be working out all those problems. I think the problem that they've done, this is, it's called like the 80-20 rule, but I think they've tackled the easier 50% of this update, and like the harder 20% of something always takes 80% of the time to do. Can they do all of that in the next 6 months, especially since they also have to do some work with 1.19, especially since they're on summer break right now? Who knows for sure? I would like to see all of that, but just know that in the next 6 months, there is actually a surprising amount of work that's to be done just to make these new caves and these new cliffs that already exist work in the game, which is interesting to say out loud, but you know what else is interesting to say out loud? Pray done, Seti. Thank you for being a gold cat. That's a sign that he's a member. And one of the questions he asks as a member is for Q&A, may come off as a bit blunt, but do you make more of a channel membership or through ads? And this is a really interesting question because when I first launched channel memberships, it was something like 1% of the overall revenue came from them. It was just a really fun little side thing that some people chose to do. However, in the past year, since we've been doing a bunch of member drives, we actually, it's now in the last month, something like 10% of all the money on the channel comes from memberships. It's really nice because that 10% stays even when the ads dry out. And that 10%, or more like 8 or 9% now, because we've removed Cheap Cat as a tier, is coming from about 260 individuals. That's right. We used to have like 500, 600 members on the channel, but because I added Cheap Cat as a tier as a joke, I literally couldn't remove it without unmembering 300 people. And so that is happening tomorrow. That's when your thing will be refunded or whatever else. And so I want to just make the plea to anyone right now, because memberships are obviously a way to support a channel on a monthly basis, and they allow, people who really like a channel to support it. I mean, to put this in perspective, I have 1.6 million subscribers, right? And I get about 3 to 10 million video views a month. Of those 3 to 10 million video views, they're worth about only 10 times as much as 250 people doing this monthly thing. So obviously it's a much bigger deal on a per person basis. And so if you want to help out the channel on a monthly basis so that we're not as beholden to the advert gods, we can be beholden to the people who like the content on the channel, the members of it, if you will, then obviously you can become a member, and the amount of help that it provides me on an individual level is so huge compared to watching ads. I think it really is something insane, like you'd have to watch 5,500 videos every single month just to have the exact same thing as the membership. And of course, when you're a member, that happens on top. It's a really great way that you can help support the channel as a whole. And I wanted to do one last appeal to anyone out there who's a cheap cat who is considering upgrading their member, that if you do it within the next few days, you can obviously keep all of the months that you've had as a cheap cat. You can keep your nice little gold icon or your emerald icon or any icon that you have, and then you can have the next tier up, which would be great because here's the deal. I want to use this to support some streams and do some fun things there. So if you like the live streams, if you like the channel and want to support it through the bad times, please consider becoming a member. And I'm sorry for the long sales pitch, so let's end with, hey, did you know goats are coming to Minecraft on Tuesday? Hey, did you know much more exciting things like Copper are coming next Tuesday? I knew about that, and I'm excited to do a bunch of survival things, which you can look forward to over the next week or two. Thank you so much for even watching. I know a membership is not in the reach of every single person, but for just watching this video, it's something I appreciate a lot, and I'll see you all tomorrow for Seed Sunday. Goodbye.